In this video, I am going to introduce you to Wahi Pana because we will be writing about Wahi Pana for Essays 3 and 4. This presentation was created by Malu Durua, who normally gives this presentation in the in-person classes that I teach. So today I thought it would be fun to have an assistant help me with this presentation. I have my daughter Moani.
Hi guys.
And she will be reading some of the words in Hawaiian. So we're going to get started here.
Ka namahele hi'ona aina.
So mahele refers to a region, division, section, or a zone. Hi'ona refers to the actual features or the landscape of a particular place. And then aina in general refers to the natural environment or the land. Which takes us next to
Mokupuni.
So mokupuni is an island. And if we break this word up into moku, which means island, and puni, to be surrounded, we have a landmass surrounded by water, an island. Moku also means to be cut or severed or amputated. So in this regard, we can look at our mokupuni here of our island, and then in the red, the different moku or districts. So as you know, we have 6 moku or districts in Hawaii. And that takes us to our next term,
Ahupua'a.
which are smaller land divisions within our moku, and they extend from upland to sea. So you can see all the red in here are our ahupua'a. And then ahu, if we break this word up, also means to collect, like as in a tax collection. And then pua'a means hog. So in some districts, the tax would be a hog. Takes us to our next term.
Ili.
Ili refers to the smaller land divisions within the ahupua'a. And then we have
Aina.
aina. Aina refers again to the land or the earth. And aina are smaller parcels of land, and traditionally these were lands owned by families within the ili or the ahupua'a lands. And these were lands that were cultivated or put to use by kanaka, which means people. And our next term is
Wahi.
So wahi is a place or a location. So we'll talk more about this term in the context of Wahi Pana soon. First, we're going to talk about some of the land features that we would see in these different parts of the land. So we're going to start with
Ka mauna.
So mauna is a mountain. And a note, the uppermost region of the mountain is the most important or sacred part of the mountain because that's where akua dwell. Akua are gods. So next.
Ka ke kuahiwi ame ke kualono.
So Kuahiwi and Kualono are the ridges and summits on a mountain. And then we have
Ka pu'u.
So pu'u are our smaller hills, which are often cinder cones. And these are unique in that they act like little sponges for the land. They collect water and release the water to the surrounding environment. So they are really important to the aina. And then next we have
Ka luapele.
So luapele, referring to volcano, the crater, volcano pit. So that's the most active land feature, as we know, on our island. And so we have the luapele, and then we have the pele, which is the actual lava coming from the luapele. And then next we have
Ka pali.
So pali refers to a cliff. And then we have
Ka lai.
And so lai is a cape or a promontory, as you can see in the picture, how it kind of juts out here like a forehead. Lai can also mean forehead.
Kanahele.
So nahele refers to forests, and then we have
Ka'avava. Keavava.
so avava refers to valleys, gulches and ravines. We have some famous avava on our island. I'm thinking of like Waipio. And then
Kawailele ame ke kahavai.
so the Vailele and Kahavai refer to waterfall or cascade for the first, and then a stream or a river for the second. And then we have
Ke kai moana.
so Kai and Moana both refer to the ocean. The way it was explained to me is that Kai refers more to the kind of closer to the shore and then going out to the extent of where human activity occurs, like maybe fishing, swimming, surfing, whereas Moana is more of the open, deep ocean, past where typically people go to have just kind of activities within the kai or the ocean.
Kamakani.
So Makani refers to wind, and then
Kaua.
Ua refers to rain. We'll talk later on about where you can find lists of wind and rain names, because there are hundreds of wind and rain names respectively throughout the Hawaiian Islands. So now we're going to get into more about
Wahi Pana.
So Wahi or Wahi Pana are storied places throughout our Pai'aina, which is the Hawaiian island chain. And these places are set apart from other places because they're storied places. They're places of historical importance. And because of that, their stories live on. So we've talked about the meaning of Wahi as place. When we add Pana to that, Pana refers to heartbeat, a pulse. And in this context, we can think of the land having this heartbeat or this pulse or this vibration. So because these places are storied, we can again think of them as having a pulse or a heartbeat that helps us never forget about the stories that beat or pulse through these places. We're going to talk a little bit more about these terms.
Mo'olelo and Ka'au.
So Mo'olelo and Ka'au both refer to stories, myths, legends, and tales in general, specific to Hawaii, or I should say having origin of being written in Hawaii. So the nice thing about these tales is that some of them are ancient, going back as far as we know, especially the Mo'olelo, or I should say the Ka'au. Those are the legendary accounts, but the Mo'olelo, we can have new stories. As life progresses and changes, stories accompany those changes. So that's a kind of a small difference between Ka'au and Mo'olelo. So next we'll get into
Mo'olelo and Mele Hawaii.
So Mele Hawaii refers to the songs and chants, and they recall history, origin stories, they retell familial practices and traditions. They're very poetic. They often involve elements of the natural environment, and mele are one of the many tools that we can use to assess or tap into the same vibrations as a surrounding environment. So next we have practices and traditions. The familial practices and traditions that are still practiced today are informed by the natural environment here in Hawaii, as well as the living conditions of ohana in Hawaii. So ohana referring to family, Practices and traditions are established based on the needs of the ohana and their own environments. So whatever the environment provided is what people would use. Whatever part of the Wahi Pana or Aina people lived in, they would use what was there in that environment to support their traditions and practices. And then we have the prominent land features that we went over already. That can be another way to help us recognize a Wahi Pana. So for example, in this picture we have the summit of Mauna Kea, which is a very well-known Wahi Pana. There are many stories about this sacred place, and the fact that akua live on the summit or the top of the mauna helps us further identify this as a Wahi Pana. Which brings us to
Na palena moku.
So na palena moku. These are the boundaries of our 6 districts. So I'm going to have Moani read these for us.
Wahi Pana o Okala Hamakua. O Okala hilo hono ke a kohala. Hono ke a Hamakua ke au huailo no kona akua.
Akau, yeah? Kona akau?
Akau.
Over here.
Ke hulu no kona akua. Akau pu uoha hau kona hema pu uoha kona hema ka hea vai ka u.
Okay. Oops.
Ka hea vai kona hema oki okia hopuna.
One more.
Oki okia ho ka u mawai hilo.
So we're going to end this presentation with a short explanation from Moani about the leilai.
Okay, so when you make a leilai, the meaning means like when you are palekana, and then if you give the lei to someone, it will be a palekana, and I'm pretty sure palekana means like to cover something or protect it, and I think that's all.
Okay, well, mahalo Moani, and hopefully as you go through and think about Wahi Pana, you can think about how to locate the Wahi Pana in the research paper. You will be asked to identify things like prominent land features, districts, ahupua'a. So you can refer back to this information as you go through essays 3 and 4. Mahalo.